Hey, what's up everyone? And well, it's that time of the year once again as 2025 almost draws to a close. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy whatever holiday you celebrate. Happy holidays once again. And well, you know what this means. It's obviously time to look back at the best movies and video games, in my opinion, of 2025. And obviously looking into 2026. What I'm anticipating for both movies and video games. So, let's get started, shall we? Best movies of 2025, plus a few honorable mentions. So, here we go. Number 10, Black Phone 2. Yes, the sequel that I anticipated and was interested to see how it was going to turn out, especially with the grabber himself, played by Ethan Hawke, once again making a return, as well as the two kids, played by the same child actors themselves. Definitely adds more depth to their characters, brings them a step forward, definitely shows off more of their motivation and ability to what they can really do, especially the one who plays the sister, with her dream sequences, by taking place in Colorado once again, but this time in a snowy part, in a rather desolate area, where shit starts to happen and the stakes get raised much higher. It definitely brings out more of the supernatural elements of the film, rather than more realistic. Not that the last film didn't have any supernatural elements to it as well, but this one is definitely much more creepier, and it ups the eerie factor much more higher. And I mean, if you think the last one, which was great, was eerie enough, this one brings it up just a notch. It's not just a carbon copy sequel. It ups its game and takes the necessary step forward. I mean, Ethan Hawke is not just back, but back with a vengeance, making it a worthy sequel. Number 9, The Bad Guys 2. That's right, DreamWorks can still make a great animated sequel, and this one is no exception. These bad animals, I guess you can call them, are back, with some high-speed heists and car chases and action, even though it's all animated, and, well, I ain't got much to say. The characters are still just as great and funny, and with some new ones in there, I can't say anything bad about this one. It has some great new twists and humor, going into space, especially towards the end. Not to spoil anything too heavy, but I think most of you have seen it in the trailer. And okay, at the end, especially not to give anything away too major, it does kind of play a bit of a shocking but rather predictable twist. So, these bad guys, they may be bad, but this movie is not, I should say. Number 8, The Fantastic Four First Steps. Yeah, just check out my review for this one and you already know they finally got this right with these characters. Unless you count the Incredibles movies. But yep, joining in on the MCU, and okay, you could argue there's a couple of slow parts, but I say this time around they did do it right. I mean, there's not too much build up or anything like that. You see a lot of great action, the casting is done well, especially Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic himself. And, well, Galactus is finally done right. Even though, of course, you may argue about the Silver Surfer character being female this time, but no. This is how you do Fantastic Four, Fox. Leave it to Disney. They got it right. May not be as fantastic as, like, any of the other MCU films, but it's building up to something, believe me. And they're not done. Number 7. Thunderbolts. Yep, from one MCU film to another, I could safely say they're finally getting their groove back, especially after last year, and, well, with these new characters that we've obviously seen before, joining up and building up a new Avengers team, which I was a little skeptical on, especially after Captain America Brave New World being pretty lackluster. This one thankfully redeemed the MCU, and exceeded rather low expectations that I had for this one, or anybody had. And the characters are pretty relatable, and I guess you could say it sort of deals with depression and everything, because our main character, Elena, dealing with the loss of her sister and not knowing what to do in the world, not knowing how to serve purpose and everything like that, teaming up with a bunch of other seeming misfits of the Avengers universe, and, well, like I said, becoming the new Avengers. Just like Fantastic Four, it's building up something new for the MCU. I'd say it's definitely finally getting off its feet and getting better. Number 6, The Final Destination Bloodlines. Yeah, this is one franchise I apparently overlooked a bit, but after watching this one and, well, several of the sequels, which were pretty hit and miss. I mean, most of them actually had some pretty cool death scenes, and, well, a bit far-fetched, but they were still pretty cool to watch. And this one, I'm not going to lie, is the best in the franchise. The death scenes are cool, the characters, and okay, the opening scene may seem like a little bit of pointless padding, but no, it's not pointless. It actually has purpose to the film and the whole plot of the film relating to our main characters. And okay, every film is usually different characters, and these characters were great too, even though of course we get the return and sadly the last appearance of Tony Todd, may he sadly rest in peace, but a great last performance from him. Very likable as always. And all I could say is, this Final Destination, well, it goes out with a bang. May not be the last one, but so far, it's the best one. Number 5, Nobody 2. Yeah, I finally got myself into the Nobody movies after watching the first film. It's kind of like an R-rated Home Alone, if you can call it that, with an adult taking on a bunch of drug dealers and guys with guns. I mean, it's obviously rated R, not PG like the Home Alone movies are, but yeah, it's a fun movie. Bob Odenkirk, a seemingly regular plain family man, I guess you could say a nobody, becomes somebody and kicks some ass, and I know it's far-fetched and over the top, but come on, it's so enjoyable. And with Christopher Lloyd as the grandfather, he could still pack a punch, or a bullet, I should say. Now with this one, it continues the story and lots of action, lots of over-the-top fighting and gun scenes and killing, violence that you've pretty much seen before, but it ups the game a bit by taking the family on vacation, the grandfather included, and with some new characters and everything like that. Well, more drug dealers, more criminals, and bad guys to take out. But, like I said, on vacation. Nobody ruins this man's vacation, so guess you could say he ain't a nobody anymore, and neither is this movie franchise. Number 4, The Naked Gun. Yeah, after seeing the original films, which are hilarious, I mean, those were Leslie Nielsen's movies. We can all agree with that. He was the real, stupid, but at the same time most hilarious character who pretty much made this franchise what it was. So memorable, may he rest in peace. So I didn't really know what to expect out of Liam Neeson being the new Leslie Nielsen, if you can really consider him that. I mean, he's a great actor. I've seen him in plenty of movies. Hell, I even met him in person. So I didn't really know what to expect out of this. Thankfully, I worried for nothing, because after hearing the positive reactions, I would safely say he picked up the mantle pretty well, playing one of the sons, I believe, of him, and, well, a little more dry-humored in comparison, and he keeps it going for an hour and a half. Just like Nobody 2, it thankfully is only a runtime of that long, but it's funny, it's got action, it's got pretty much the same similar type of silly and ridiculous but enjoyably amusing humor as you remember from the original films. And, well, yeah, it even does pay tribute to the original films with that same music during the end credits. So, yeah, Liam Neeson is not Leslie Nielsen, but I think he's a worthy enough successor to him to help make us laugh once again as if we were watching the original films. Number 3, Weapons. Yeah, this was another one I didn't really know what to expect out of. Obviously, it's a horror movie, and it's a rather good mystery movie, more or less. And, okay, it obviously is a lot of development and viewpoints of each character. And with all these big-name stars in here, like Julia Gardner, and, of course, 2 MCU stars, Benedict Wong and Josh Brolin, they definitely are what makes the film shine. But as I said, you have to really pay close attention to a lot of things that are going on. It's a little bit of build-up and character development with each character and their different viewpoint of the whole entire story about, of course, the main plot, which is where several kids, all except for one, just go missing in the middle of the night. So they have to try to figure out what exactly happened. Not so many jump scares. I mean, there's a few. And okay, the main villain of the film maybe a little too obvious, but I think it was what makes the film work with the proper build-up of it, of what exactly is going to happen. It may be a little predictable at some points, But the suspense and build-up, as I said, is what makes it work. And even with all the kids that are involved with this, you could tell just how much fun they're having. And with the gruesomeness, and even the rather twisted, sick ending, man, I could safely say, best horror mystery movie of the year. Hands down. Number 2, Zootopia 2. Yeah, I was actually really surprised. Although I did enjoy the first one, I didn't super love it. I mean, this one, I was really shocked to see it actually, in some cases, do better than the first. It expands on the whole Zootopia universe, bringing in more characters, most notably the snake, voiced by Ke Huy Quan. And with our two main characters playing buddy cops, it definitely brings in much more than you can ask for out of a Disney sequel. I know Disney's been kind of tanking the last couple of years, and being that this is a brand new movie, I don't want to really give too much away. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen it now. I mean, it's one of the highest grossing movies, and for Disney to finally get a winning formula after the last couple of films that have tanked pretty hard, even this year as well, and I could definitely see an Oscar at least nomination for this one. This is probably their biggest success since Inside Out 2. Just like that film, they're both great. I guess you could say they might as well stick to animated sequels that people want to see. Alright, before I get to number 1, as promised, a few honorable mentions. Ballerina, The World of John Wick. Taking place in between chapters 3 and 4 of the John Wick franchise. Yep, it's still going on, and it may seem like they're milking it for what it's worth, but this one has payoff. Obviously, it focuses on a different character, more of a revenge story for her father's murder, and being played by a female actress this time, Ana de Armas. And what else does she do? She kicks some ass and shoots up whatever is in sight. I mean, this is what you'd expect to see out of a John Wick spin-off, prequel, sequel, whatever you would call it, and you got plenty of it. Yeah, there's a few slow parts, and it may seem a little underwhelming in comparison to the other original 4 John Wick movies, but hey, he does make an appearance in the movie played by Keanu Reeves, which makes sense considering it takes place before the 4th film, not to spoil anything, but I think we all know what happens at the end of that one. But hey, it's action, all the way through. What more can you ask for? It gives you exactly what you wanted. Sure, there's a few slow parts at the beginning here and there, and maybe it may not have the heart and soul like the original 4 films, but take it for what it is. It's definitely worth at least one watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed it for what it was. Frankenstein, released only on Netflix, not in theaters. A bit long, but Guillermo del Toro, you can always expect him to do at least 1 or 2 great movies that are not released in theaters. And this is definitely one of them. I mean, his style, his gothic visuals, even though of course it's not in black and white, he still manages to pull it off, with some really great cinematography, shot in a large format with wide lens. As I said, may not be for everybody, but that's his style right there, and I could certainly dig it. Guess you could say, it's alive. Avatar, Fire and Ash, another recently released film that I'm not going to give too much away, but despite being a 3+ hour long film, I would say that James Cameron definitely can still keep this series going pretty strongly. And I would say it's actually much more smoother paced than the last one. I enjoyed the last one for what it was, but this one I think had a lot more action. It was a little more darker. Definitely developed the characters a little more and brought out into their abilities and everything like that. It brings in a new tribe of Na'vi who are obviously more rebellion, kind of outlawish, teaming up with our main villain who comes back, played by Stephen Lang. And yeah, definitely dives deeper into the world of Pandora. So if you didn't think this series can keep going, I beg to differ. James Cameron definitely has what it takes to keep it alive and well. Hard Eyes. Yeah, slasher movie. I guess they figured if they did Thanksgiving, might as well do one for Valentine's Day. And I was really surprised by this one. It's rather underrated. Not many people I knew went to see this one, but as far as I know, I think it's still on Netflix. If not, go check it out. If you're into slasher movies, it definitely features some really interesting kills, going after couples in love. And, well, it's pretty much like Scream or any of these other slasher movies where you gotta figure out who the killer is and stop him from doing all the killings. Nobody's safe around this time of the year. You expect it. A bit generic and over the top and somewhat predictable. But with the two main characters that are obviously lovers, I should say, they make it work. Sure, there's a couple of slow, boring, romance scenes in this movie that you gotta get through. But when you get to the kills and the gore and the violence, that's where it's all at. And that's what you want to see in here. John Candy, I Like Me. Yeah, a documentary that is only available to watch on Amazon Prime, and after growing up watching several of his movies during the 80s and 90s, man, this documentary makes me miss him a hell of a lot more. Colin Hanks did a fantastic job bringing in all the different actors that worked with him, saying what not only a great actor he was, funny, charming, but what a great man he was in general. I mean, it's honestly a real shame to see a great actor and a great guy gone way too soon. This documentary, well, have some tissues ready because you might shed a tear or two, especially towards the end. Rest in peace, John Candy. Gone too soon, and we still miss you. And the number one best movie of 2025, at least in my opinion, people, The Long Walk. Yep, based off of the novel by Stephen King of the same name, comes to life another dystopian-like movie where a bunch of kids have to partake in, as the title explains, a long walk and see how long they can make it before, after a couple warnings, being taken down by the army who's on their side, forcing them to. And with director Francis Lawrence, who already did great with the Hunger Games movies, well, this one is no exception too, considering it's a similar type of scenario. The characters are great. They have a really interesting backstory, especially our main character, who's out for revenge against the army that's basically controlling the country. Yeah, like I said, it's in a dystopian-like world. And, well, Judy Greer plays his mother. You have Star Wars actor Mark Hamill as the badass major leading the whole thing. But the main two stars that stood out, at least to me, were Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson as basically buddy-buddy who are trying to go as far as they can to win this whole long walk competition, survive as long as they can, and it's pretty gruesome. It's pretty brutal. It can get graphic, a bit dramatic, and, well, yeah, you really feel for these characters and the whole situation. I mean, you're rooting for them the whole time to make it all the way through. Not to give too much away, I'm sure most of you probably have read the book. If not, I don't want to give away the ending. But it can feature a bit of surprise to the end. It's all about retribution, standing up for what's right, and all I could say is if you want the best Stephen King movie of the year, out of all the other couple of them that were maybe not so great, this one I think, in my opinion, is the best. And in my opinion, the best movie of 2025. So that's my list, people. Till next time, keep watching.